Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs. Thanks for joining me today for part 2 in my Wedding Memory Planner mini-series. This series is part of a design team project for Country Craft Creations, and any supplies that I use will be listed down below. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 2 fun items that you can add to your wedding memory planner. One will be a magazine holder, which is inspired by Michelle Allen, and I'll have that in part 2 of this video. I wanted to mention that I do have the chapters or timestamps noted in the description box so that you can easily go to any part of this video that you need to recreate the project. I've been doing that with all my videos lately, so just make sure to check the description box, or you can see on the screen when you hover your mouse over the timeline. And in the first half, we'll be creating a fun little page highlighting the couple that the wedding is being planned for, as well as something for emergencies. So before we actually dive into the project, I wanted to mention that since I missed National Craft Month in March, what I have decided to do is to provide the cutting guide, or what I call a project sheet, for the wedding memory planner, as well as the SVG files that I have created to go along with this project. And those will be available to you free throughout the time that I am doing the mini-series, and then I'll give a short period afterward. After that time, I may put those up for sale in my shop. So I'm glad that you're here and following along. I will have the link for that information down below. If I should happen to update the information or add more to what I'm already providing to you, I will put that link in each of the videos, and you can just go out and pick it up, okay? So happy National Craft Month, and let's do some crafting. So now that we have our covers created, one of the first things I was thinking about after that would be, what would I want to see when I opened my wedding memory planner? Well, the first thing that came to mind that would be something pleasing would be a picture of the couple. So that's the first thing we're going to put as one of our first pages into our wedding memory planner. So the first thing you're going to need to create this page is a piece of cardstock, and it will measure 9.5 inches wide by 11 3/4 inches long. On the short side across the top, we're going to put it into our scoreboard, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch all the way down. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish. And then we're going to add adhesive and glue this flap down. Now this is an idea that Michelle had to strengthen where we put the holes when we go to fasten or put the planner all together. And I think that's a great idea. So if you don't want to do the extra 1/2 inch, you could just use hole reinforcers to do the same thing. So as you can see on my page, I actually already have a tab. This tab measures 2 1/4 inches wide by 3/8 inches tall. Now, if you're going to make one by hand, you're going to want to make that a little bit longer so it can go over the page. So I would suggest making it 3/4 of an inch tall by 2 1/4 inches wide. Now, for those that have access to a cutting machine, I will have cut files for you to use, and you'll find those in the link that I previously mentioned. It will be dividers, and I'll have a placement for 4 tabs. And you'll see more about this when we go to create the pages. But for now, we're going to just use the one with the bottom tab. Okay, so we have our base page with our tab. The next, you're going to need a decorative piece. And I'm using the Harlequin one, or it's the back of the cake one. And this will measure 8 3/4 by 11 1/2. And you're going to glue this down to your base page. Now, to save time during these videos, I'm going to do some of my gluing off camera so that we could just do the important stuff together. Next, you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. You're also going to need 2 pieces of white cardstock, which will be photo mats. And as you see, I've used my photo mats here, and they are 4 by 6. So these will give a nice 1/8 of an inch border around our black mat. Now what I'm going to do is attach my white photo mats onto my base mat with some repositional glue. This way they can just remove the copy paper weight photo mat and add their own photo. It eliminates some of the bulk. But if you want to use white cardstock for your photo mats, you can certainly do that as well. Now that we have our photo mats ready, we're going to place these down on our paper, and I'm going to kind of put them at a bit of an angle, something like this. I like that idea. But you can put yours 2 by 2, one up like that, or, oh, that's nice too. However you want to do it, I really just had in mind doing something like this. And then I have a little embellishment. I had some brads in my stash. This one says you and me, and it's kind of aged, which is neat. It kind of goes with this collection. And I'm going to place that down here in between the two. Now, when we glue these down, you don't want to glue these 2 pieces together. You want to leave them open so that the photo can be slipped down in there. So let's go ahead and glue these down. Now this one we got to be careful on. So what I'm going to do is overlap them, and then, yeah, I kind of like that. It looks just like a scrapbook. I'm going to put my hand right here so that I don't put glue in any of these areas, or at least try not to. Let's see how I did here. Okay, that's good. So that whole area is open, but it's glued here and around. Now this is a brad closure element, and of course I forgot about that and glued my paper down to my divider page. Normally I would tell you to not do that. Add this first and then glue your page down, but you know, I wasn't thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and add this and let it go through the divider all the way, because I am putting a decorative piece over the back of this so it will still get covered. So right now I'm just going to figure out my placement. I like that it overlaps a little bit on each of the photos. So right here is where I want it. Just going to grab my pokey tool and push that through and hope for the best. I'm going to get those as flat as I can. Yeah, I like that. Now, if you want to add more decoration to this page, you certainly can, but that is all I'm adding for right now. And if you're wanting to label your divider tab, I actually have created cut files for that as well, and that will be part of the bundle. For the back side of our page, you're going to need another piece of pattern paper that measures 8 3/4 by 11 1/2. This is the back of the champagne glass page if you're using the same collection. Go ahead and glue this down onto your base page. Okay, now this side of the page is actually for emergencies, for the bride-to-be. I thought it would be a really nice area to add little bitty envelopes, and we're going to add these to the page. We're going to put 4 envelopes here. We're going to put a specialty envelope at the bottom. So you can see that I did that differently. And for the pattern paper for these envelopes, I did use a wedding paper that I had in my stash, so it is not part of the Here Comes the Bride collection. But I wanted to add a pop of color here, and I love that this has some gold foiling on it. So if you have some paper with some gold foiling, I think this would be a great time to use it. So we have our 4 little envelopes here at the top. We'll have one down here at the bottom, and it says happily ever, love you always, just really nice sentiments for the bride. And this is kind of her emergency page. When she is feeling stressed and she just needs a hug, maybe no one's around, this will be the place for her to flip. So at the top, we're adding a little sentiment that says, when planning gets hard, open one. Down here at the bottom, we'll have one that says, open me on our wedding day. So the idea is to have these envelopes filled with little sentiments or a little note from the mother-in-law, the bridesmaids, the maid of honor. They can all write little notes of encouragement to put into these little envelopes. And then down here on our wedding day would be a note from the groom. I just love that. I just think it's going to be so sweet for whoever uses this planner. So now that you know the function of the page, let's go into more of the details. First are these adorable envelopes. I just love them. The final size of these envelopes are 3.5 by 2 and slightly over 1/8. So what I've done is created a cut file for this envelope, and that will be available to you. And for those items that could be used as a template, there will be a PDF for those that don't have cutting machine capability. So you could also create your own envelope if you wanted to. However it works out for you. You could make 2 pages of these envelopes. I thought that would be fun as well. I actually started out by doing 10, but by the time I got everything I wanted on one page, I ended up with 5 envelopes and 2 of my sentiments. So you really could expand this to be a 2-page layout, which I think would be fun as well. So you'll have the cut file and a template for the envelope. You're going to need 5 of those. I would suggest doing 4 in one pattern and then 1 in a different pattern, again, just to make them different, because this one is for the partner. And then what we have here are sentiments. This top one measures 5 inches wide by, and I just cut these at random. So I would go to like 1 5/8. And then I cut a backing piece that ends up being about 5 5/8 inches long by 1 7/8 inches wide. And I did use a punch that I had, EK Success Punch, to make the doily edges. I just think that's so cute. So however you cut this out, because you might want to get closer to the words, or you might want a wider border around the words. However you want to do that, that is open to your interpretation. This is how mine will look in the end. And you could even take these sentiments then and ink them with your ink pad. I thought about doing that as well. But then when I thought about the page next to it, and I'll give you a little sneaky peek. Here is the divider for our first section. That's your little sneak peek. I think having the white here on these little sentiments is going to work out just fine. So if you want to ink them, you can, or you can leave them just white. Okay, so the bottom sentiment, open on our wedding day, measures 3 7/8 by 1 1/2. And I have it on a black mat that is 4 3/8 inches wide by 1 3/4 inches tall. Again, I did make a decorative edge, so you do have to account for that before you punch this out. let's see, I would probably go 4 7/8 inches wide and then do your punched edges. This one, probably 6 inches long, and then make your decorative edges, okay? So I'm going to glue these together and these together. And for the envelope, it's real easy to put together, guys. You just put a little bit of glue here to get these two pieces together. Then I added glue close to the bottom here. And then down the edge. Just a little bit, and I don't even go all the way up to the top. See, because that happens. You don't really need it too far out on the envelope. And that's it. So once you cut them, pretty easy to put together. Now I'll glue these down, the sentiments, and then I'll come back and we'll do the placement. Okay, these are all together. And what I'm going to do is actually start from the bottom and work my way up. I think that might be the best way to do it, or I might put the two sentiments down first and go from there. Yeah, I like that placement. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my envelope here. And we're really just gluing these down. So you could do it in any pattern formation that you like. Giving about 1/4 of an inch here on the side, 1/4 of an inch here on the bottom, just to give you a little bit of guideline there. And I made sure I'd use double-sided pattern paper when I selected it for these envelopes so that it would be nice and pretty on the inside. And this one, I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch in from the edge, but I actually want it to be centered in the middle of this envelope. I just think that'll look better. Now, is that straight? I don't know. Now we're going to go ahead and put down our top sentiment just so that we know how much space we have to work with. Again, I'm going to come down about 1/4 of an inch from the top and hopefully center this. You know, I'm just eyeballing everything here, which isn't that unusual for me. I'm usually measuring everything. All right, I like it. And now we place down our envelopes. Okay, now we want to start putting our envelopes down, and we're going to come 7/8 inches down from the top, the base of this top sentiment piece, and we're going to go 5/8 inches in from the side. So I made a little tick mark there. I measured it. You know, I couldn't go without measuring it. So I keep hitting that. So let's see. Yeah, 5/8 inches. And 7/8 is good there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and place that down. We'll kind of use that one as our guide to place the rest down. So I'm going to go ahead and do the one on the bottom here as well. 7/8 inches up from the envelope. And 5/8 inches in from the side. And now we go to the other side. And just line this one up with the one we already placed down. Again, we're working with 5/8 inches in from the side. Okay. Now on this side, if you're curious, it is a little over 1 1/8 from our sentiment. So it really all depends on where you place this down. Just trying to give you as much information as I can. And then now let's add our last envelope here. Now to keep these envelopes closed, what I'm going to do is use some little Velcro fasteners. These are the little ones. I just love them. They're so tiny. Let's see. I don't know if you knew this or not, but you can take your inks and color these and then they'll match. But quite frankly, the white blends right in just as easy. So I'll leave that up to you, however you want to do that. I'm putting the more toothy one on the bottom and the more soft one at the top. So that's our page. How fun is this? It would make a great little wedding party game where you have those that have come to fill out little sentiments on maybe 3x6 papers or smaller. You wouldn't want them to be any taller than 2 inches and no wider than about 3 1/4, just so that they would fit in there and are easy to get in and out. I love adding the Velcro dot there. You can add little decorations to the fronts of these envelopes, but I may do that later. I'm just going to show you the basics in the tutorial on how to compose everything. You can do your embellishing on your own to suit your needs. I will also provide a cut file again so that you can write a little tab here to identify what the page is. So how fun were these two little layouts? I love them. Now let's move on to the magazine holder. Okay, the next thing we're going to make for our planner is something to hold a magazine or even a notepad or journal or anything like that. And Michelle Allen created a magazine holder that looks like this. And what you actually do is slip the magazine through the little slot. And then on this side, of course, we would have our 3 holes if we're doing binder rings or however you're binding it, you know, it would be bound. And then it's just attached this way into your planner, which is a really great idea. I love that. And so I thought we would put that in this planner as well. Now what I've done is taken her design. I have created a cut file so anyone with a cutting machine would be able to upload that file and cut this image out, as well as the decorative piece that will go on the long strip here. For those that don't have access to a cutting machine, you will be able to recreate this using Michelle's tutorial. So the way that you would do it, you will cut out about 5 of these. So far, I have taken these individual strips and glued 3 of these together just to see how thick they are. And it's getting pretty thick, but I think I'm going to at least put 1 more on, and then I'll have my decorative strip as well. I've already added my decorative strip to the back of this one. So I thought I would just show this to you. And then I'm going to take these and just line the ends up first. Found that's the best way to do it. That way you can get it nice and straight. I just take my fingers then and go along the long piece to make sure that's falling on it straight. And then I burnish it down. But you want to burnish this really good. Now, if you think that is thick enough, then go ahead and add your decorative strip right over here to this side. And then that will be our magazine page. So those were our fun pages for today. I hope that you have enjoyed them and will give them a try. They're super fun, and I think they're going to be quite handy in a wedding memory planner. And if you have enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And remember, I'll have all the information that you need in the description box below. So next time we'll be working on the sections of the wedding planner. So I'll see you then.